अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तिनको स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So Puruषार्थ सिद्धि उपाय by Acharya Amritchandra Dev, and the commentary is written by Pandit Todarmal ji. In this we have so far covered the introductory chapter and then the chapter of right belief. Okay. In right belief, we discussed about the 7 fundamentals, because unless and until we know clearly the 7 fundamentals, its true nature, the right belief does not manifest. And when the right belief does manifest, then there are 8 components which gets manifested. That also we discussed. 3 in the last week, 5 yesterday's class. Along with one story for each we discussed. Now, after manifesting right belief, what a seeker should do? So the next step is the right knowledge. Okay. So once you have manifested the right belief, the next step would be to understand what is right knowledge. Okay. Because without understanding, you will not be able to manifest it. Okay. So we should know also the nature of right knowledge. Okay. So as we discussed 8 components of right belief, similarly there are 8 components of right knowledge that we are going to discuss today. Before that, uh, this starts from verse number 31 to 36. So in total there are only 6 verses, and in this 6 verse, Acharya Amritchandra Dev has tried to explain us what is right knowledge. Okay. So before we move on to the discussion on right knowledge, first we should know what is the difference between right belief and right knowledge, right? So I will tell you around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 differences. Okay. So you could note it down or you can later on write it down. But I had not taught you Chhadala, so I don't know. But in other class, I always teach this in Chhadala. Okay. But I have not taught you, so I am again discussing this 9 points. What is the difference between right belief and right knowledge? This is the question. Okay. So first of all, right belief is an attribute of right belief is an attribute of belief attribute. Okay. Shraddha gun. And right knowledge is an attribute of Gyan gun. Okay. Second difference. What is the characteristics of right belief and right knowledge? So right belief, perverse understanding, devoid of perverse understanding. Okay. So devoid of false belief, you can say, devoid of perverse understanding. Okay. So that is the right belief. What is the characteristics of right knowledge? 3 things. The knowledge which is free of doubt, perversity, indecision. 3 things: doubt, perversity, and indecision. The knowledge which is devoid of doubt, perversity, and indecision is the right knowledge. Third point of difference is the action. So in terms of right belief, the action that right belief performs is that it takes you towards the path of liberation. Your path of liberation begins with right belief. What is the function of then right knowledge? So whatever difficulties that come in the path of liberation, right knowledge will remove them. Okay, that is the function of right knowledge. Then their nature. So the nature of right belief is to make oneness with something. Okay, one thing or the other. Shraddha Gun is dedicated to marry one person. Okay, either this or that. It could not be 50-50, 60-40, nothing. Either this or that. Okay, so the nature of right belief is to decide on oneness. Okay, where to manifest the oneness, whom to connect with. Okay, that is right belief. What is the function of right knowledge in that sense? Right knowledge main function is to highlight one part and ignore other parts. Okay, this is all happens in knowledge. You know, in knowledge there is Nai and Praman are applicable in right knowledge. Praman itself is right knowledge and Nai is a part of right knowledge. Okay, so in Nai what we do, we highlight one part and ignore all other parts. So when we are ignoring, it is there but we are not looking at it, that's all. Okay, there is no absence of other parts. The other parts are present, but right now we are highlighting one aspect of the thing, then the other aspects automatically gets ignored. Okay, so that is the nature of right knowledge. Now what is worth renouncing and what is worth adapting? Okay, in terms of right belief, the pure soul, okay, is the one where we should take shelter in. Okay, only one thing worth taking shelter, that is your pure soul. And what is worth renouncing? So to forego the belief is worth renouncing. Okay, so and what about right knowledge? So which is prominent, that is worth adapting, and that which is not prominent, which is secondary, okay, that is worth renouncing. Okay, right belief is the cause, right knowledge is the effect. So they have a cause and effect relationship between them. Next, the subdivisions of right beliefs are three: opshamik, shayopshamik, and shaik. Okay, the subdivisions of right knowledge are five: mati gyan, sensory knowledge; Shrut Gyan, scriptural knowledge; then Audhi Gyan, clairvoyance knowledge; Manaparyay Gyan, telepathy knowledge; and Keval Gyan, omniscient knowledge. Okay, so right knowledge has got five divisions. When does the right belief attribute gets completed? That means 100% pure manifestation. Okay, so uh, it could it could get completed at the fourth stage also. Okay, otherwise anywhere between 4 to 7. Okay, so fourth is the starting point. Then when does the knowledge get completed? At the 13th stage. Okay, so belief might get completed at the fourth stage, but knowledge gets completed at the 13th stage. Which are the karma that is affecting right belief? It is called darshan moh. Okay, belief deluding karma. What is the karma that is stopping the right knowledge? It's the knowledge obscuring karma. So both have different karmas as instrumental cause. Okay. So these are the 9 differences between right belief and right knowledge. Since there is a technical difference between the two attributes, that's why right knowledge is being explained separately. Okay. Now we will see the words in the after accepting samyaktva, means after manifesting right belief, one should cultivate samyak gyan, right knowledge. Okay. So this is how it goes. How should it be cultivated? Amanya yukti yoga nirupa, that is by properly examining and determining right knowledge through amnai. Amnaya means the tradition of the Jina's scriptures. Okay. The lineage that has come from Tirthankar to Gandhar to Acharyas and then monks and then scholars. The whole lineage is called the tradition of the Jina's scriptures. Okay. And through Yukti. Yukti means logic. Okay. That is the application of Praman and Nai. Praman is comprehensive, valid knowledge, and Nai is viewpoint. Okay. So, how do you apply the logic? Through the application of comprehensive, valid knowledge and viewpoint, and then cultivating it. Okay. So, this is verse number 31. We will see the Bhavarth also, meaning to cultivate right knowledge, that is Samyak Gyan, means to know things exactly as they are by aligning one's cognitive application. Cognitive means knowledge. Okay. By aligning one's cognitive application with that which is obtained from the tradition of the Jina scriptures. Okay. So you have something written in Jinvani that you are reading. At the same time, to cultivate the right knowledge, you have to know the things exactly they are. So if that gets aligned with the scriptures, then it is right knowledge. If it doesn't align with the scriptures, then it is wrong knowledge. Okay. So the right knowledge is written very well in the Jinvani. We have to match it by our own experience. Okay. And by properly regulating it through Praman and Nai. Praman is the right knowledge, comprehensive, valid knowledge, and Nai is viewpoint. The nature of Praman and Nai is now described briefly. So this is a commentary. We are not going to touch this here because we have already discussed this in Tattvart Sutra. Okay. So a lot of repetitions is going on, but we will not repeat it. We move on to the next verse. Anyways, we have only the original verse in the syllabus. So we are just covering the only verse and its meaning, and the commentary also sometimes. Okay, not every time. Okay. So this is we have covered already. Now we move on to the 32. 31, 32 is covered. Now we move on to 33. 33.
Sorry, Rajesh sir, which page is 33 on?
1 minute. It's still going
Yeah.
on. You go further. Lot of commentary, lot of things written in the discussion. These all we have covered in Tattvart Sutra. Yeah, now it's coming. Yes, here it is
Page
33.
53. Yeah.
Yeah. So 31, 32 we covered. Now this is 33. Okay. The reason for speaking of knowledge after right faith is now stated. Why we should discuss the right knowledge once we have developed the right belief? Okay, that is being explained in verse number 33. The jinas declare right knowledge to be the effect and right faith to be the cause. As we already discussed this cause and effect relationship, there exists a cause and effect relationship. First the belief manifests and then the knowledge becomes right. So belief is the cause and knowledge is the effect. Okay. So the jinas declare right knowledge to be the effect and right faith to be the cause. Therefore, immediately after right faith, the cultivation of knowledge is considered proper. Okay. We'll also read the commentary. The jinas state that right knowledge, go just below. Yes. Yeah. The jinas state that right knowledge is the effect while right faith is the cause. This much is only the um, matter of verse, Now we will also see the bhavat. Matigyan and Srudgyan did apprehend objects earlier as well. However, in the absence of samyaktva, that is right belief, they bore only the designation of kumatigyan, wrong sensory and wrong scriptural knowledge. Okay. And wrong sensory knowledge and wrong scriptural knowledge. At the very moment samyaktva arose, okay, the moment the right belief arose, those same matigyan and shrudgyan acquired the designation of samyak gyan. Okay, so basically we see our whole workshop is our knowledge. Okay, but when we talk of the path of liberation, the path of liberation begins with right belief. But how you can manifest right belief without knowing? So when we say we want to know something, then knowledge comes first. And when we talk of the path of liberation, then the right belief comes first. Okay. So the knowledge will, the whole working will happen in knowledge attribute. And when the knowledge attribute is ready with its presentation, then the belief attribute will put a stamp on it. Okay. So the path of liberation begins with right belief, but before right belief, the knowledge has to be acquired. Okay. And that knowledge is not termed as right knowledge now. Okay. Right knowledge, the terminology only will come after we manifest right belief. Okay. But to manifest right belief, we have to know the facts, and there only the knowledge only helps us. We are upgrading our knowledge. Every day we read Jinwani, we are upgrading our knowledge. Okay. Just one moment ago, a person was a wrong believer, and the next moment he is a right believer. So one moment ago, whatever knowledge exists is termed as wrong knowledge, but the understanding is absolutely proper. But unless and until the right belief manifests, the knowledge cannot be called right knowledge. Okay. So when we talk of the path of liberation, right belief will come first and right knowledge will come later on. Okay. So thus the knowledge was already present, but its rightness, okay, samyakness arose only through samyaktva. Therefore, samyaktva is of the nature of a cause and samyak gyan is of the nature of an effect. Okay. Hence the statement after samyaktva, the cultivation of knowledge is desirable because an effect arises only from a cause. Okay. So this was the thing. Now there is a question which is pertaining to the next verse, verse number 34. Cause and effect are spoken of only when there is a succession, one after another. Here, however, both arise simultaneously. Okay. How then can causality be established between them? Okay. Both arise simultaneously. The moment the right belief is manifested, the same moment the knowledge is called the right knowledge. So both are happening simultaneously. So how you are saying that the right belief is the cause and right knowledge is the effect? Okay. So that for that, this answer is stated in verse number 34. Indeed, even though right faith and right knowledge arise simultaneously, the relation of cause and effect between them is well established, just as in the case of a lamp and its light. Okay. So light can only be possible when there is a lamp. Without lamp, light is not possible. Okay. दिया और प्रकाश, तो प्रकाश कब होगा? जब दिया जलेगा तब. Okay. So diya is the cause, lamp is the cause, and the prakash, the light, is the effect. Okay. So this example is given, and this example is very well explained in the next verse, that is 35. Okay. So go, yeah, we will read this commentary also. Indeed, wait. Darshit ji, take it. We will read this also. Yeah. Come slightly down. Yeah. This question. Yeah, bas. Indeed, even though Samyaktva and Samyak Gyan arise at the same moment, the causal relation between them is correctly established. Now, go ahead. Take it up. Yes. By which illustration? Deepa Prakasho ya Eva. Just as a lamp and its light arise at the same time, yet the lamp is the cause and light is the effect, because light arises from the lamp. Okay. So similarly, right belief is the cause and right knowledge is the effect. That is being discussed in verse number 35. In the same way, Samyak Darshan is the cause of Samyak Gyan and Samyak Gyan is the effect, because it is only through Samyaktva that knowledge comes to be designated as Samyak Gyan. Okay. Now the verse number 35. A decisive ascertainment is to made with respect to the true realities that are of a many-sided nature, Anekan, multifaceted reality. Okay. A decisive ascertainment. Decisive ascertainment is what? The right decision. Okay. The right knowledge is to be made with respect to the true realities. What are the realities? The 7 fundamentals. Okay. And that are of many-sided nature. That knowledge being free from doubt, error. So error would be perversity. You can cancel error, perversity. In Hindi, it is Shanka, Sanshay. Sanshay means doubt. Viparya means Viprita. So Viprita means perversity. Yeah, this is correct. So being that knowledge being free from doubt, perversity, and indecisive cognition. Indecisive cognition would be indecision. You remove cognition, you write indecision. Remove cognition. Yeah. Yes. So is the very nature of the soul. Okay. So what is a right knowledge? A knowledge free from doubt, perversity, and indecision is the right knowledge. Okay. This is the characteristics of right knowledge. Now we will read this commentary. Go ahead. Up. Yes. Yes. In realities, whose nature is many-sided, Anekant, decisive cognition, grounded in proper understanding is to be undertaken. Okay. Decisive knowledge, grounded in proper understanding is to be undertaken. To know an entity in accordance with its true nature is called right knowledge. Every entity possesses an anekant nature. Okay. Anek means many and ant means attribute. So, thus that which possesses infinite attribute must necessarily be known in this manner. Okay. One who has recognized reality correctly does not lose conviction, even if innumerable contrary cause arise, because he has come to the conclusion after many thoughts, thinking, and analyzing the things, and then only he has come to a decision. Okay. So one who has recognized reality correctly. Correctly means as the nature of reality is, similar is your understanding. So if you have upgraded your knowledge according to the reality, then you don't lose conviction, because you have manifested this knowledge after analyzing, thinking, and decision making. Okay. Then you don't lose conviction because you are convinced, because you have logically understood it, even if innumerable contrary causes arise. The right knowledge is the very nature of the soul, because once such true knowledge has arisen, it culminates in omniscience. Okay. So this right knowledge goes on increasing and it culminates in omniscient, that is complete knowledge. Okay. Omniscience, keval gyan, and abides eternally. Okay. Move ahead. Yeah. So we will understand what is sansay, then what is viparyay, and what is anadyavasai. Okay. What is the nature of this knowledge? Okay. It is free from doubt. Error would be perversity and indecision. Indecision. Okay. So the earlier it was decisive cognition. So now the correct word has been used, indecision. Okay. Perversity and indecision. Good. Sansai. First we will discuss sansai. Doubt. Cognition oscillating. Cognition means knowledge. Knowledge oscillating between two opposed possibilities. Okay. Whether this is this or that. Such as seeing someone at night and being uncertain whether it is a human or a celestial being. Okay. So this person is in a dilemma. He is still in doubt. He has not decided anything. Right. So he is in a better position. If he analyzes, then he will definitely come to the right decision. Okay. So he is at the decision making stage now. The next one, viparya. Viparya has taken a decision, but that decision is wrong. So now to mend this kind of people is difficult, because he has already taken the decision and he has taken the wrong decision. So it will be very difficult for convince him first that your decision is wrong, and then to convince him to take the right decision. It's a very ardent task. Okay. First one was still in a dilemma. So he could, if you guide him, he might take a right decision. But the second one has already taken a decision. So viparya is perversity, one-sided but inverted cognition, such as apprehending a human as a celestial being. Okay. So actually it was a human being, but he has taken a wrong decision that, oh, it is a celestial being. Okay. So viparya is the worst case than the first one, the doubt. Okay. The person who has doubt, he has not taken any decision, but he is in two minds, whether it is this or that. Now, if at that point of time, if you get a correct guidance, he might be able to take the right decision. But the second one has already taken a decision and that decision is wrong. Okay. Now, what about the third one? Anadhyavasai, indecision. Indecision is the worst of all the three, because he is least interested what it is. Okay. Whether it is a celestial being or a human being, he is least interested. Okay. So this is called indecision. Means knowing only so much as something exists without undertaking any specific determination or reflection. This is called anadhyavasai, also termed vimo. Okay. Anadhyavasai means indecision. Okay. For example, while walking, there may be awareness of the contact of grass. Okay. Yet without any determinate consideration of it. So he has already touched the grass. He is aware also, but he is least interested in knowing what it was. Whether it was grass or something else, he is least interested. He is not interested at all. Okay. So, yet without any determinate consideration of it. Knowledge that is free from these three states, three flaws: sansay, doubt; viparya, perversity; and anadhyavasai, indecision. Okay, is called right knowledge. Okay, so here again you have to change indecision. Anadhyavasai is indecision. We will use the standard word everywhere. Indecision. In Chedal also we use these three same words. Okay, indecision. Okay, so this is right knowledge.
But
So right knowledge.
in Tattva Sutram, they are given rope and snake, no, ji. In Tattva
They have
Sutra.
in Tattva Sutra, I think in
Rope
Chedala.
and snake.
Yes,
No.
rope and snake.
Rope and snake
Yeah,
in
rope and
Tattva
snake,
Sutra.
but not
In Tattva Sutra. Tattva Sutra.
Yeah, I know, but not in this case of right knowledge. It is not a case of right knowledge. But
Yes,
in Ched,
yes. In right knowledge only they are given. First chapter only.
okay. In Chedala, they have given whether it is a silver or it's a what you call shell, SHELL, shell. Okay. सीप है कि चांदी है. Okay. So that example is in Chedala. This example of snake and rope is very well in the context of right knowledge has been used, but I don't remember that Tattva Sutra. This is used in this for this purpose.
And in all the three, for right knowledge, these three should not be there.
Yes. Doubt, perversity, and indecision. Okay. A knowledge which is free from these three flaws is a right knowledge. Okay. Now, here effort is not enjoined for knowing in detail objects such as pots or cloths. Rather, instruction is given to the diligent in knowing correctly those entities which are causative of sansar and moksha. Okay. So the next question is very important. We will also cover that question. Even though knowing activity of the samyak drashti, right believer, and the mithya drashti, wrong believer, may appear similar. Okay. So the knowing activity may appear similar. Why is the knowledge of one called right and why that of the other called false? Okay. In Moksha Marg Prakashak also they have taken this example of rope and a snake. If a right believer says rope as a snake, his knowledge is correct. And if a wrong believer says rope a rope, snake a snake, still his knowledge is considered to be wrong. Why? Because the right believer has known the 7 fundamental elements correctly. So if other knowledge is also wrong, then also his knowledge is considered right. Okay. Whereas a wrong believer who knows rope as a rope is still considered a wrong knowledge because the right belief has not manifested. So if unless and until the right belief is manifested, all the knowledge is considered wrong. Okay. So our knowledge of CA, engineering, doctor would come under all wrong knowledge. Okay. Although in the worldly parlance, it will be considered as a good knowledge. But here, when we are discussing the path of liberation, only the 7 fundamentals purposeful elements. Apart from that, everything else is of no use. You just decide about the 7 fundamentals and manifest right belief. Okay. And if you have manifested right belief, all your knowledge is considered to be right. Although you may say rope as a snake and snake as a rope, still your knowledge is considered as right. So then someone would argue that this is injustice. A right believer says rope as a snake, still also you said his knowledge is right. And the wrong believer who says rope a rope and snake a snake, still you are considering him as a wrong knowledge. Why? Again, the same logic. The 7 purposeful elements has to be known correctly. Everything else doesn't matter. So, our syllabus for manifesting right belief is very small. Oh, you know the 7 fundamentals very properly and you manifest the right knowledge. Okay. You manifest the right belief. The mithya drashti does not possess true knowledge of the fundamental entities. Consequently, whatever secondary entities are known are also apprehended incorrectly. Okay. So the mithya drashti does not have the true knowledge of the 7 fundamentals, and that's why he is a mithya drashti. Okay. Consequently, whatever secondary entities are known are also apprehended incorrectly. Therefore, the knowledge of the mithya jnani, wrong knower, is the mithya drashti is called false. Now the final verse of this chapter, right knowledge, the 8 limbs of the samyak jnana. We discussed yesterday, completed yesterday, the 8 components of right belief. Now we are going to study the 8 components of right knowledge. This is very rarely discussed, you know. The 8 components of right belief is discussed everywhere. Okay. But this characteristics of 8 components of right knowledge is discussed very rarely. I think it is discussed here and then in Mulachar. Mulachar also this discussion is there, but this is not very popular. But it is so interesting to know if you want to manifest right knowledge, then at least consciously, intentionally, you have to follow these instructions. Okay. Now, what are these instructions? That is being explained in verse number 36. Go further up. Right knowledge, yeah. Slightly below. Slight, yeah. Yes, here, yeah. Right knowledge is worthy of cultivation by those endowed with right belief. So those who have manifested right belief, their knowledge is termed as right, but it is worthy of cultivation. Okay. And under this has 8 points have been discussed. What kind of knowledge it is? Grantha Artha Ubhay Purna. It is complete in verbal form, complete in meaning, and complete in both words and meaning. Okay. These are the first 3 points. Then the other points will also follow. Okay. So meaning the 8 limbs of right knowledge are as follows. Verbal observance. What it wants to say? Where there is cognition. Cognition means knowledge. Where there is knowledge is limited only to the recitation or reading of words, okay, it is called the verbal acquired component, verbal observance. That means whenever you read Jinwani, you should pronounce correctly. If you are not pronouncing correctly, then it is a flaws. You will not be able to manifest the right knowledge. Okay. So we have to do the pronunciation, correct pronunciation, okay, by reading properly. So this is the first point. Now the second point, meaning observance. Arthachar. First one was Vyanjanachar. The second is Arthachar. Arthachar means meaning observance. Okay. Where cognition is undertaken solely with regard to meaning and purpose. Okay. So the knowledge, the right knowledge is only possible when you understand its meaning in the right sense. Okay. Where cognition is undertaken solely with regard to meaning and purpose, it is called meaning complete observance. That means you not only have to pronounce correctly, you have to know the meaning also correctly. Okay. Then only your knowledge would be a valid knowledge, valid comprehensive knowledge. Okay. So this is the second point. The third point is combined observance. So here Ubhayachar. Ubhayachar means both. First number one also and number two also. You have to observe both simultaneously. That means you have to pronounce correctly also and you have to understand the meaning also very correctly. Okay. Where there is complete cognition of both word and meaning. So you know the how to pronounce the word correctly and you also know the meaning. Then it is called the component complete in both word and meaning. Okay. Thus, these three limbs have been described. You can write down component also. Now, when should knowledge be cultivated? Okay. This is stated as follows. So when you should read the scriptures, and by reading the scriptures, we cultivate the knowledge. Okay. So what are the designated time when you should read the scriptures? Okay. So there is a specific time frame mentioned in the scripture. Okay, this scripture. So we will see it. During the first and last two ghadis. Okay. Ghadi means 24 minutes. Okay. During the first and last two ghadis means 48 minutes of the 4 daily twilight periods. What is this twilight periods? This twilight period, it's called Sandhya Kal in Hindi. Okay. That means, supposing the sun rises at 6 in the morning. So 48 minutes prior to that, okay, that is the right time to study. Okay. Then when 48 minutes remains to sunrise, then you should not study the scriptures which are having the doctrines, the fundamentals, the principles. Okay. That you should not study. But you can study Prathman Yog stories. You can study Bhaktamar Stotra. Okay. Light scriptures you can study. Now, what is the reason behind that? Okay. So it's not mentioned here, but the main reason is that these are the times where you should meditate. Okay. Usually a monk meditates most of the time. Okay. So keeping them in mind, this time are conducive to meditation, and at this time you should not read scriptures. Okay. Scriptures like Samay Sar, Pravachan Sar, okay, Tattvad Sutra, all these doctrines we should not study at this time because this is the time for meditation. And during this time, if you study the scriptures, you will not be able to understand properly. Okay. So these are the 4 time periods that is being mentioned. It's mentioned. So, so Darshit ji, this paragraph will come after now when should knowledge be cultivated? Okay, this is stated as follows. From there this will come. Okay, during the first and last 2 ghadis is the second paragraph of this. So before that this will come because this is a part of number 4 point only, right? So yeah, this will hold. You have to cut here and yeah, right. Right. Yes. Proper observance of time, kalachar. So first one was vyanjanachar, where you need to pronounce the words correctly. The second one was arthachar. That means you have to know the meaning correctly as it is. The third one was ubhayachar. Ubhayachar means combined observance, and in that combined observance we studied that the pronunciation should also be correct, at the same time the meaning should also be correct. Okay, those were 3. The fourth one was kalachar, proper observance of time. One should do that activity at the time which is appropriate for that knowledge. Okay, so if it is a time for puja, then you should not study at that time because that is the designated time for doing worshipping the gods. Okay, so every time is fixed and designated, you should do accordingly. What we are discussing now? The 8 components of right knowledge. Okay, so if you want to manifest right knowledge, you have to observe these rules. Okay, so one should do that activity at the time which is appropriate for that knowledge. Sunrise. So four time period has been mentioned. One is sunrise. So 48 minutes before and 48 minutes after sunrise. Okay. You should not study the scriptures like Samaysar, Pravachansar, Tattvat Sutra, where the fundamental principles are mentioned. Okay. So sunrise, then sunset. Supposing the sunset today in Mumbai is 6:25. Okay. So 48 minutes prior to that and 48 minutes after to that, you should not study these scriptures. Okay. You can study Pratman Yog stories, you can meditate. Ideally, you should meditate. And you can also study Bhaktamar Stotra and all. Okay, but not the scriptures where you need to marginalize, where you need to settle your active consciousness. Okay, जहां उपयोग को सूक्ष्म करना पड़े वो काम नहीं करने का. ठीक है, भक्ति, प्रथमान योग स्टोरीज इज ऑल ओके. So sunset, sunrise, sunset, 48 minutes prior to that, 48 minutes after that. Sunset also same thing, 48 minutes prior, 48 minutes after. Then the third one is midday. So midday is 12 o'clock. Okay. So 48 minutes before 12 o'clock and 48 minutes after 12 o'clock, you should not read the scriptures which depicts the principles, the doctrines. Okay. Then the last one is midnight. Okay. So maybe midnight would be, I think 12, maybe 12 o'clock, right? Midnight. Okay. So 48 minutes prior to that, 48 minutes after that. The moments just before and after these are called Sandhya Kal, twilight period. Okay. Twilight period. Excluding this time to engage in study, recitation, etc., for self-learning during the remaining 4 excellent periods. So apart from these times, all else are excellent time period where you can study the fundamentals, you can understand it, and these are the times for our own welfare. Okay. So this is called proper observance of time. Now you may ask a question. Yesterday we were discussing that people like Priyanka, Darshiji, and those who are working, okay, they have very little time at their disposal. So how do they do? So this is for people, particularly those who have, all the time in the world. For them, this observance makes sense. Okay. But as I said, they are allowing you to study Pratman Yog and then some bhakti you can do. That all could be possible, right? So for them, this has to be followed strictly. For others who doesn't get time, who has to work, for them, these are somewhat concession given to them. Okay. But ultimately, we should all follow this. Okay. Because this is written as a part of right knowledge. Without this component, the right knowledge will not creep in, right? So if our objective is to have right belief and right knowledge, then we should observe, because these are written by acharyas and they have written after thinking so much. And there is a logical reasoning also behind all these. Okay. So these are the times conducive for excellent, these are excellent periods apart from these 4 times, 48 minutes before, 48 minutes after. So 96 minutes, 96 minutes, 96 minutes, 96, 4 times a day. Okay. So that means 96, 96, 96 is approximately 1.5 hours. So 6 hours a day, you could not read the principal texts, right? Like Samaysar, Pravachansar, Tattvat Sutra, Moksha Marg Prakashak, all these. Okay. So, so out of 24 hours, 6 hours have been deducted. There you cannot do the fundamental studies, right? But you could do other studies. So the balance period are all excellent period. Okay. You can study. Okay. Now moving on to this. The moment just before and
Excuse me,
after.
sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. So, when we do mala,
Hmm.
the 108 mala,
Hmm.
does that fall into bhakti?
Yeah. That could you do.
So, so that is okay to do.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I can forward this onto the group for those who want to copy it, because
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
some of you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
change your
Because
book or
yeah. So those who have taken a
Okay.
printout have to write on the top. There is a space. You can write down this missing paragraph. Okay. Uh, during the first and last 2 ghadis of the 4 daily twilight periods, and during times of calamities, see, during times of calamities such as directional conflagration. Conflagration means fire. Okay. Then meteor fall. In Hindi it is called ulkapat. Ulkapat. I'll tell you what it is.
So, टूटता तारा.
हाँ, उल्कापात बोलते हैं ना उसको.
हाँ, sir. So, टूटता तारा या asteroids falling from the sky.
Yeah. That is meteor fall. Okay. Then lightning strike. So lightning strike is Vajrapat. Okay. And the first one was this directional conflagration, that is called Digda, fire. Okay. Then Ulkapat, then Vajrapat, then Indra Dhanush, rainbow appearance. Okay. Then solar or lunar eclipse, Surya Grahan, Chandra Grahan. Then storms, Tufan, then earthquakes, Bhukamp, and similar upheavals. the reading and teaching of doctrinal scriptures is prohibited. Okay, doctrinal doctrinal scriptures means Siddhantic Granth like Sem7, Tattvat Sutra, Pravachan Sar, Moksha Marg Prakashak, Purshat Siddhi Upai will also fall into that. Okay, so these are the times you should not read. Okay,
Sir, may I ask a question here?
yeah,
So, sir, in Jainism, like we don't consider, astrological significance,
yeah,
planetary movements and so forth.
yeah.
So, the meteor falls, or like any kind of such events, they sound like a bit astronomical.
They
So,
sound a bit
what is the
astronomical, but
connection
there is
then?
again a logical, These are the times when the atmosphere is not conducive you for reading the scriptures. Even if you read, you will not be able to understand the meaning. Okay, so there is a scientific reason against all this, and these are all scriptures written by acharyas. So we have to just believe it. Okay, and there are scientific reasons that it is not conducive, like Das Lakshan Dharm. Now Das Lakshan Dharm is a Shashwat Parva. It is there since eternal. It has not stopped and nobody has started it, but it's eternal. Now, this Shashwat Parva is the time when the whole atmosphere becomes conducive to manifest religion. Okay? Even those person who
Okay,
never
sir.
goes to a temple, but during these 10 days, they try to observe as much as they can. Why? Because it's a general change in the environment, the atmosphere, and it all becomes very conducive to manifest religion. Okay, so there is some technical and logical reasons behind all this, and that's why the acharyas have mentioned it. Okay,
Okay, sir.
similar,
Thank
the
you.
reading and teaching of doctrinal uh, huh. However, doctrinal scriptures is prohibited. However, hymns means prayers. Okay, devotional practices. Okay, stotra aradhana like bhaktamar stotra, and texts related to religious discourse like pratman yog. Okay, they could be read. Okay, so this is allowed and these are not allowed. Best is you can meditate at those times. Okay, so generally the vow holder has to perform samaik 3 times a day. So these are the times that they choose. After lunch, during midday, you are very tired and you are feeling sleepy. At that point of time, if you meditate, okay, then it will be for your benefit. Okay, it is not that we cannot win over these obstacles. It can very well be won, and that's why the scriptures mention the solution. Okay, the fifth one is discipline observance, vinayachar, with respect. And in what manner should knowledge be cultivated? Vinayan, with humility. Okay, one should not be arrogant. Cultivation of knowledge with humility is the fifth limb. So you should keep the scriptures properly. You should sit in a stable chair, or even if you are sitting in the ground, then the jinwani should be above your waist height. So all these disciplines has to be followed. You cannot listen to jinwani by sleeping. That is not recommended. Okay, so these are some of the disciplines that you follow, and if you follow, you are likely to manifest right knowledge. Okay, so these causes, 8 points have been separately mentioned for manifestations of right knowledge. So this is discipline fifth. Sixth, attentive observance, ubdhanachar. And what kind of knowledge cultivation is required? Sopadhanam, with retention and attentiveness. So how you should listen, how you should read? With retention. So whatever you read, you have to register in your mind. Then only the retention can happen. Okay. So you have to be very sincere and attentive to understand it. Okay. So the with retention and attentiveness, without forgetfulness, cultivating knowledge with attentive retention constitute the sixth component. Okay. Attentive observation. So these are all the disciplines that the acharyas have mentioned, and it has to be followed to maximum extent whatever we can. Okay. Even if we are not able to follow, at least we should have that thought in our mind that this has to be followed in this manner. Although I'm not able to do it right now, but definitely I have an agenda, I have a plan for this, and I'm going to soon manifest it in this manner. Okay. With this much of commitment, you will increase your internal purity. Okay. So this is how things will move. Bahumanachar. Okay. What is the nature of knowledge? Bahumanena samanvitam. To hold great reverence for the scripture, the book of knowledge, or for the one who teaches it. Okay. So you should have great reverence for the scripture, the Jinvani. You should keep it in a high place. You should respect it. Okay. Because in our religion, Dev, Shastra and Guru, all three are at one level. So even Jinvani has to be respected very earnestly and sincerely. Okay. So number 7 is Bahumanachar. For the one who teaches it. To practice knowledge together with such reverence constitutes the 7th component. Okay. So now the 8th one. Aninnav achar. And what is the nature of knowledge? Aninnam. One should not conceal the scripture or the teacher from whom one has obtained knowledge. Now this is very, very important. Okay. We should give credit from where we have picked up or the teacher who has taught us. Okay. So we should be ready to express our gratitude all the time. Okay. This will further increase our internal purity. Okay. Nowadays, there is a, I think it is called plagiarism, something like that, plagiarism. So somebody picking up someone else's article and publishes it through his own name. These kinds of lot of things going on in the media world. Okay. So this is best avoided. Even if we are referring something, we should mention the name of the scriptures and the acharyas who have written it, so that we don't incur any flaws for that. Okay. See, even if you say I have manifested this, I have discovered this, then still you have not discovered. Because on what basis you have discovered? What is the available right now is all from the Tirthankars. Okay. It is in that lineage that it has come to us. So we cannot deny the source, Source will always be Tirthankar. Now, if something that you study again and again and manifest in yourself, and then you bring some creativeness to it, then also it could not be credited to you. Okay. It will be credited to the Tirthankars. Okay. So there is nothing ours in this. The mind is not ours, the speech is also not ours, and the body is also not ours. All are alien substance to me. I am just a knower, observer, okay, knower and seer. So this is the eighth one. Knowledge in which neither the source scripture nor one's teacher is concealed. That is the eighth component. Okay. These are the 8 components pertaining to the discipline of right knowledge. Those Samyak Gyan is to be adapted. Thus, Samyak Gyan is to be adapted. Thus ends the second chapter entitled Description of Right Knowledge in Pursat Siddhi Upay, composed by Sri Mad Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev Suri, who also known by the alternate name Jin Pravachan Rahasya Kosh. So Pursat Siddhi Upay is the main name, but there is another alternate name to that, and the name is Jin Pravachan Rahasya Kosh. Okay, so this also is the alternate name for Pursat Siddhi Upay. So here we end this chapter, and we have still 9 minutes to go. So if you have any questions, we can take up. Otherwise, we will close for the day. And yeah, ask any questions for today.
Sir, could you just give us one more time a quick recap of the 8? First
Yes.
4, it's very clear.
Okay.
Just a quick like 8 so that we remember it.
So the
for the
first
sake of
one was
memory.
Vyanjanachar. The pronunciation has to be correct. The second one was meaning observance, Arthachar. The meaning has to be correct. Okay. Whatever the words mentioned, that should be understood in the proper sense. The third one was combined observance, Ubhayachar. That means the pronunciation has also to be correct and the meaning has also to be correct. Okay. This was the third one. Fourth one was Kalachar. During what time you should study the main scriptures. Okay. The scriptures which depicts the principles, the scriptures which depicts the doctrines, that should be read when. So there is a specific time frame, just before 48 minutes before sunrise, 48 minutes after sunrise. Okay. Similarly, in the midday, 48 minutes before, 48 minutes after. In the sunset time, 48 minutes before, 48 minutes after, and midnight, 48 minutes before and 48 minutes after. These are the times when you should not read the scriptures like Samaysar, Pravachansar, Tatvat Sutra, Moksha Marg Prakasak, Pursat Siddhi Upay. Okay. The principle depicting scriptures. Okay. So this should not be read, although you can read Bhaktamar Stotra, you can recite Bhaktamar Stotra, you can recite Bhakti, you can read Pratman Yog stories. All these are very light kind of things. So this can be read at that point of time. Otherwise, all the other times are very good for the studying of the scriptures. So that was Kalachar, okay? Observance of proper time. Now the fifth one, discipline observance, okay? So you should be very humble, not arrogant, okay? You should keep the scriptures in a proper place, and you should pay respect, just like you are in the Samosaran, okay? So this Jinvani has got very importance. You should read it in a proper manner. Then the sixth one was attentive observance. So while reading the scriptures, you should be very attentive so that whatever you read, you are able to retain it. Okay. And when the need arises, you can just refer to those. Then 7 was Bahumanachar. okay, to hold great reverence for the scripture, the book, okay, and for the one who teaches it. To practice knowledge together with such reverence constitute the seventh component. And the last one was Aninnav Achar. That means the name of the scripture or its author should not be concealed. Okay. We should give references that this has been adapted from here, this has been adapted from here, and particularly in case of the main scriptures like Sem7, and all these. So that is to be mentioned. See, the more you share your knowledge, the more you will be gaining the knowledge. Okay. So it's our for own development that whenever we read Jinwani, we should observe these 8 disciplines. Okay. It is for our own good and welfare, and we are going to benefit if we follow. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
What are the 3 flaws in right knowledge, Priyanka?
Sir, it is perversity.
Yes.
Then it is doubt.
Yes.
And then the third one is indecisiveness.
Yes. So first is doubt, then perversity, and then indecision. Okay. These are the 3 flaws. When you are devoid of these 3 flaws, your knowledge becomes right. Okay. Right knowledge and right belief has a cause and effect relationship. Right belief is the cause and right knowledge is the effect. Okay. You understood this, that whatever we are working on for our own welfare, everything work is going, our whole workshop is going on in the knowledge attribute. Okay. We are upgrading our knowledge. So once the knowledge is upgraded, your knowledge is almost like the right knowledge. At that point of time, the right belief manifests. And once the right belief is manifested, that same knowledge, one moment ago it was wrong knowledge, now it has become right knowledge. Okay. So that same knowledge is considered a right knowledge. Okay. So they have a cause and effect relationship. And I told you 9 differences between right belief and right knowledge that you should write down somewhere. So it will help you to understand this whole chapter. And one thing is very sure, that you may have little knowledge about geography, about the universe, about say financial product, whatever it is. It's still no problem. But if you are not aware of the 7 fundamentals, the purposeful elements, then your all other knowledge is of no use. Okay. So we should begin cultivating the right knowledge by doing Swadhyay every day. Okay. And once you are into it, the continuity goes on, consistency sets in, and with consistency comes the confidence. Okay. And that is very important in the path of liberation. Any
Sir, I
other
have a question.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so when you look at these 8 components,
Right.
and then you bring, and then and on the one hand we say that we are just seers and not doers,
Right.
and then we bring the Purushat element into this. How does the whole cycle actually work? Because then isn't it supposed to be just that
See, we
whatever is going
have
to
4
happen is going to
expositions.
happen?
We have 4 expositions. Right. Each exposition has its own way of saying things. Okay. So Dravyan Yoga will say that we are not the doer, we are the observer. But Charnan Yoga will say you eat only the eatables, don't eat the uneatables. Dravyan Yoga will say we are Anahari Atma, we don't eat at all. Soul doesn't eat anything. Right. But Charnan Yoga will say that eat this and don't eat this. So you should understand that each exposition has its own unique style of presentation. Apart from the style, it has got its own purpose also. Okay. All the 4 exposition leads you to passionlessness, detachment. But wherever you are standing at that point of time, Acharya will think what would suit you best, and accordingly he would recommend you. Okay. So once you are into it, you move towards the Vitrakta only. Okay. So you have to balance out everything. Okay. We have nahi, we have Vyavhar nahi, we have Nischay nahi. So Vyavhar nahi will say that this is my father, this is my mother, these are my children, this is my house. But you don't believe in it because it's a conventional statement. Take the conventional statement as a conventional, take the real statement as the real. Okay. That is how you manage. Otherwise, you will always be under the cloud of doubt. Doubt, perversity, and indecision. These are to be avoided to manifest the right knowledge. Okay.
Thank you.
So you have to see from what perspective which statement is being made. Otherwise, you will feel that it's all changing, but it's not changing. You have to see from what perspective what is being said. Karnan, you will say that the soul is suffering just because of the karma. Karnan, you will say like that. So there is no harm. There is nothing wrong in it also. So you have to see from what perspective it is being said. Once you know the perspective, then the underlying meaning also becomes very clear.
Okay.
So
Okay.
may I
Thank
just
you.
add a little bit in this, if that's okay?
Yeah.
So, sir, many years ago, I had attended one lecture of a Vakta
Uh,
and during pollution time, and he gave the example of a banana.
uh,
So he said many people they say that I don't need to take care of the formalities or
hmm,
like prakshal or rituals.
hmm,
Like but I'm gonna have moksha like that. And there's another group who says like I'm just gonna do only this, like
hmm,
the physical aspect of it, but
hmm.
mentally I'm not going to look at the fundamentals or tattva the way the in their true nature.
Right.
So he gave the example of banana. He said if the banana is bad from the outside, the peel itself is bad, will
Hmm.
we ever buy it? Because we
Right.
are thinking most likely inside is also going to be
Right.
not so good.
Yes.
But then he said, but if you take a gorgeous looking banana, which is beautiful, but sometimes when you peel it, inside it's all rotten
Hmm,
or it's dirty.
hmm.
So you need to be like a banana, which is good from outside as well as inside. So
Definitely. If the
he,
if the
he said
diamond
both.
is costlier, say 2 crores diamond, then the packing will also be good, no? So you are going to become God.
True.
So your outer appearance will also reflect some things uh, related to it, right? So your life also will be very pure. If you have this purpose that you want to become God, you want to get liberated, then uh, your body and the activities of the body would also be of that level only. Okay. So there is nothing wrong in it. There are 4 exposition. Each exposition has got its unique way of presenting things. Just you have to strike a balance among the 4. Just you have to strike a balance between the real point of view and the conventional point of view. So these, if you are able to strike the balance, then everything is good. Otherwise, it is all one-sided, either Vyavharabhasi or Nischayabhasi. You are inclined to one thing, but the ideal thing we would like to balance. Okay. Even in real life also, we balance out our relationship, we balance our business. There are so many things to our life, but we balance everything, and that's how our life goes on smoothly. If there is a slightly disbalance, we will not be able to enjoy the life. Okay. So similarly, in case of diet, there is a balanced diet. It has to be protein, it has got carbohydrate, it has to get vitamins, it has to get sugar, whatever. So everything has to be balanced at the end of the day. And the one who learns balancing things he is the winner because he finds solution to every problem and he is the happiest most. So we also should strike a balance between all the components. Okay, any other question, Rajeshri ji? Are you good today? Okay. Subhaji,
Yes,
good?
sir. Good.
Yes, Ji.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will close for the day. Nij
So just one
nidhi.
last, sorry.
Yeah.
So just one last request. Could you post for us that difference between 8 or 9 differences between right knowledge and right belief on the group? So we have that.
I didn't find the time today. I have to prepare slides for my Sunday lectures also. I'm researching that also. So what I can do,
So whenever is possible.
I have ready in Hindi. I can share that Hindi. You translate it.
Okay, I can do that, sir.
And today's lecture also, the beginning part, if you listen 10 minutes, you will be able to get the English translation from there also. But anyway,
Okay,
I will
sir.
share the Hindi one. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है।